What's going on, y'all? Your boy Darius the Great here, back again from the video, and this time we have ourselves not exactly good news, right? We have some releases to talk about from WWE, as well as some other news with WWE's let's say financial exploits, right? On the very same day, which is interesting. So yeah, man, it's nothing that we really wanted to hear, but you could expect was going to happen with the whole WWE UFC merger, the fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z, turning into TKO Group Holdings, right? So let's talk about this. Before we do, though, do me a favor, right? Huge favor. It's not even a huge favor. It's just a small favor. Click that like button, man. Click that thumbs up, man. It helps to push, the content in the YouTube algorithm. However that may work, I don't know. I still don't understand it, right? Click the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notification bell so you know when I upload another video, man. And leave a comment giving your opinions on this whole thing. So let's get right into it. I have this pulled up on CBS Sports. It has a list of the wrestlers released today. And there was a report from like Brian Alvarez that around 5 p.m. Eastern time, which for me, as I'm recording this right now, is a little less than 2 hours. There will be some NXT cuts as well. So I'll likely make a video on that when the time comes. But the wrestlers that we have released right now, right? And these were reported by Fightful as it was going on. Dolph Ziggler, Shelton Benjamin, Elias, Mustafa Ali, that's more on that. Emma, Madcap Moss, Aaliyah, Top Dollar, and Rick Boogs. So here's the thing, right? Of this list, most of these wrestlers were not being featured and not being used. So, like, it's, on one hand, it sucks. You never want to see anyone get cut, fired, losing their jobs. But the wrestlers they did, release here mostly weren't being used. It's not like during the pandemic when they would make regular rounds of cuts every, few months or so. A lot of the times you would get people cut who were in the middle of doing things, right? Like, remember when Aleister Black, they had the whole... They were building him up with all the vignettes of him reading the book and showing the different animation stuff, the whole Dark Father saga, and then he makes his return, kicks Biggie in the head, and then he's released the next day. None of that really happened here, except for Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali, right, was down in NXT. In case you didn't know, he was doing his politician gimmick that he wanted to do, a while ago on main roster that Vince didn't let him do, right? He was embroiled in a whole saga with the NXT North American Championship, and he in fact had an NXT North American Championship match against Dominic Mysterio scheduled and advertised next week at NXT No Mercy. And they released him. So clearly Vince doesn't care or didn't know, or a combination of both, about him being on NXT, because these other cuts, these are all people who were on main roster, right? They were all on main roster, and it's like Vince looked at the roster sheets, and for some reason Ali was still slated on Raw, SmackDown. He's just like, yeah, he hasn't been doing anything. Yeah, released, and no one told him, wait, Vince, no, he's in NXT. Vince, look, no one showed him the match card graphic of him and Dom. It's just it's nuts. The other name that sticks out here is Dolph Ziggler, who's been in the company for 20 years, right? I kind of figured he's a real company guy. He could have left years ago, but he took the money to stay, and is very stop-start with him. And they just, over the last few years, they've been doing nothing with him. But I still, despite that, thought that he would stick around, kind of retire, become a producer, backstage, guy, and just, no, he's released. All these other names, right, are people... Top Dollar is interesting because they didn't release the other members of Hit Row, like B-Fab and Ashanti Theodonis, which, it's not like I'm hoping for them to get released, but it's just interesting that they released him and not, the other two. Makes you wonder, what, did Top Dollar do something, backstage that, why would they do that? That's weird. These other names, man, it's just, they haven't been used. They haven't been given an opportunity to be used and featured and really show what they do. It's just a shame, because these people weren't really given, a lot of these people weren't really given opportunities to shine and show what they can do. Meanwhile, you got some people on TV right now that they're insistent on pushing, and they're not really like I don't want to name names or anything like that, but like there's some talent that's like it's not really clicking, and they're not really changing creative for them to make it click, you know, like. But these other people didn't really get that opportunity, right? So it's just a shame. I hope they all land their feet. You know, the wrestling landscape is vastly different than it was like 5 years ago, even. I hope Emma. It's a damn shame for Emma because, like, number one, she came from Impact where she was tearing it up, right? And then as soon as she got WWE, they just made her Madcap Moss's girlfriend, which they are actually together in real life, but that just became her entire character, his girlfriend. It's a damn shame, man. And I hope she goes back to Impact because AEW's women's division isn't really that good, or like they don't book their division good or feature them really. That's why I believe Jade left, you know. Yeah, and it's also sad for Emma because like she literally like minutes after she tweeted, you know, about how WWE is going to Australia next year for Elimination Chamber. It's a stadium show, right? She was like, oh, it's a dream come true because she's Australian. And then minutes later, it's like, nope, I got released. Which, speaking of which, we can go into that. That's a thing that's happening. It's why it's so interesting that they decided to cut talent today because you have that announcement of that deal. And obviously, you know, when it comes to going to different international places, just like a tourism board, they get paid to put shows on there, right? So that's obviously a big payday for them. And then, of course, WWE announced Thursday morning that SmackDown will move from Fox to USA Network beginning October 2024 as part of a 5-year deal between WWE and NBC Universal. The WWE will also host 4 NBC Primetime Network specials as part of the arrangement, which is for over $1.4 billion. Billion with a B, just want to make sure, $billion. So it's just like, optics wise, it's like you release people, you release talent, even though you're making like $1 billion deals. You know, it's just kind of should have spread that out, man. It's just like, you know. But yeah, man, it's a shame to see people lose their jobs, right? And hey, man, once again, hope they all do well on their feet. You know, get back on their feet. You know, not everyone's gonna land in the AEW or Impact. Some people, it's gonna be a grind on the independent scene, trying to, you know, make a name for themselves. Like, look at Matt Cardona, though. He's did it. It's grueling, but I'm confident all these people can do it, right? So yeah, man, those are the updates for the releases. Like I said, I'll be back once the NXT ones come out. Let me know what you guys think of all the releases of this information. Hey, man, like, go ahead and tell me, you know, like, what's your favorite moment from these wrestlers during your time in WWE? Like a guy like Dolph Ziggler who's been there forever. Like, what's your favorite Dolph Ziggler moment, right? Mine was that Survivor Series where Sting debuted. That thing was crazy. Like, he was, at that point, they should have just made Dolph WWE champion. They should have, like, pushed him to the moon right there. He was on fire. It's crazy and it's wild. But anyway, that's all I got for today, man. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.